Every so often, you'll go through a period in your life that seems like all of your real skills are being wasted. It will feel like you're not being used to your highest potential. It will feel like you're living beneath your privilege. And if you're not careful, you will secretly see yourself as a failure because you don't see yourself operating in the way that you dreamed that you would. If you saw yourself as a sedentary eaglet sitting in a nest, enjoying the comfort of your nest, it's hard to see yourself soaring. After all, soaring is more work, requires more muscles, requires more effort. You expend more energy. It's easier to lay back in your nest and say, feed me, love me, acknowledge me, open doors for me, make a way for me. Me. All of a sudden, the food stops. When the food stops, it's a sign for you to move on. You'll have to live with what you did all your life. That's why you ought to be careful what you do.
You don't have to wait till the 50th year. You don't have to wait till 2021. You don't have to wait till you get married. You don't have to wait till you get divorced. I mean, everybody's trying to go somewhere else. He said, today, this is the, everybody say, this is the year. This is the year. This is the year. But if frustration is a more familiar state for you, you will create frustration. You do this. I know this is hard to hear, but please hear me with spiritual ears. Some of the frustration, you just got to get through because it's not your fault. Some of it you're creating. You're creating it when you compare yourself to other people. You're creating it when you overload yourself with all this stuff you're looking at. You are making yourself frustrated. And the reason you're doing it, I'm going to tell you why you're doing it, because it feels familiar.
Here's something I want you to keep in mind. In order to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do. In order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. Most people don't have goals. Most people have not dedicated themselves to mastering something that they love that can be of service to others. And most people are not trying to create a life of meaning. I believe that you're with me because you feel that the best years of your life are ahead of you and the best is yet to come.
The one thing about me, man, I've always been resilient. I've never been afraid to reinvent myself. And here's the key for everybody. When someone closes a door in your face, all you have to remember is when God allows them to close the door in your face, all God wants you to do is walk up the hall. It's some more doors, because I can promise you, He got a better door that He wants you to go through than the one that got shut in your face. That's a fact. That's a fact. But what happened to people is they stand there beating on the door. Open it back up. We're going to do a write-in campaign. Where are you leaving? I got to have my job. What about my benefits? Hey, stop. The door is closed for a reason. Because God just wants you to walk up the hall because He got another door. It's bigger, and when you open it and get behind it, you ain't gonna believe what's back there. But you will never get to it if you stand in front of that door crying. Help me, my family, stop. Go up the hall, man. These people that close doors in your face, they ain't the only door. They ain't the only door.
You can either live a life of scarcity and believe that you're going to lose what you have, and then you begin to hoard and fence in and protect and lock. Or you can just believe that there's more out there to experience than you've ever experienced. There's more to see than you've ever seen. There's more to do than you've ever done, and there's more to discover than you've ever discovered. Here's what I know. If you have a scarcity mindset, you'll find very, very little good stuff that happens to you. And if you have an abundance mindset, you'll find a whole bunch of good things that are going to happen to you. And what's interesting is the two of you can be side by side, and one is barely making it and the other is just getting blessed beyond measure. You see, the abundance is out there, but you have to have an abundance mindset to receive it and to achieve it. Have hope. Look at your future. There's more in front of you than you could ever imagine. But it only comes to you if you have an abundance mindset.
Don't give up until you get where you want to be, however long that is. Step by step, piece by piece, book by book. Do it until. Go for it. Until is a very important word. It's magic. It means that you'll never give up. Don't miss the chance to grow, to pay the price. Until you learn, change, grow. You'll discover some of life's great treasures when you pay that price. As long as you're working toward your inner goal, your dream, then success is possible. But once you give up your inner vision, then you can never become successful. You never will become successful. Until doesn't even matter. Now, maybe the person who's been working on a project for 10 years can be successful in his own right, if he's honestly working toward it, doing everything to make himself worthy of reaching the dream. Really happy with where he is, doing it until, then maybe he is a success. It's a personal thing. Going for it one step at a time. Going for small accomplishments along the way for however long it takes. You'll start to see things change around you, little things, not major things, but little everyday things. Things you may not even notice unless you are paying attention. If you're one of those who'd rather stay up late and get up late, only to discover that your workplace doesn't fit your schedule, and you roll out of bed cursing the alarm clock every morning, maybe you could start with the little change of going to bed half an hour earlier than normal. And maybe you'll see, in time of course, you can't train your body overnight, maybe you'll find out that you jump out of bed in a better mood, and that your day will start better, and that you'll get more done. It all starts by making one little change and adding to it every day.
There most certainly are times when we feel like that, when you say, I don't have any idea whatsoever of what I'm going to do to pull this out. Been in situations like that, where I had deadlines I had to meet. I didn't meet those deadlines, and I lost a car, lost a home, lights were cut off, telephone was cut off. All of those things are going to happen to you at different points in life. Now, the question is, what does it really mean? It really doesn't mean anything. It's not important at all. It's just a temporary inconvenience, because all of those things can be corrected. And it's a part of the process that we all go through. Now, the challenge is, in the midst of all of these things, is one, to stay focused on your goal, and two, to keep your expectations of making it happen, and relentlessly looking for ways in order to pull it out.
You see, you can't change what's going on around you without first changing what's going on within you. Start changing how you look at mornings, and sure enough, people will start changing how they look at you. When you start changing how you think, how you act, how you treat others, how you treat yourself, when you start responding instead of reacting to life, life will start responding to you. I'm telling you that you can do it with your lifestyle. You can do it with your sales career. You can do it with any part of your life. If you are looking for equities unmatched, don't curse the only thing you have: seed and soil, sunshine and rain, miracle and seasons. But start processing things like we're covering in this program, and change will take off for you. You cannot believe what can happen in such a short period of time. So what happens when you start taking charge of your own personal happiness, your own life? Do you think that these little things will somehow make a difference in meeting your goals? You bet they will.
I once heard somebody say that hope doesn't matter. I still remember that because at the time I was going through a difficult period in my life. I had lost a lot, and being honest, I was starting to question if I had enough to get back to zero. Not to impress anyone, not even to win, but just to get back to zero. And somewhere in me, I was starting to feel like a loser, a joke. And and I had to deal with that. But the one thing I had going for me, the one thing I had left that would get me unstuck and back in the game again, was a real Hail Mary. The success rate was 1% worse than chance. But that's all I had. So you better believe I was holding on to hope. That's what kept me going and believing that I could start again, that I could come back. So the person was wrong. Hope does matter. But it only matters when you understand that hope is just one part of the equation. Hope alone cannot survive. The world you build around hope will disappear into thin air if hope is all there is. The real story is this. Hope is always looking for a partner. It's always searching for something else to give it meaning. Hope goes looking for courage. It seeks out faith. It invites work, action, doing. Getting up at 4:30 in the morning to work out because you've got to lose that weight. You want your life back. Hope is looking for courage because by itself, hope might get you to the game. But after that first hit, the one that knocks you to the floor, hope needs courage to get back up, to take more, to readjust and to keep on moving. Hope seeks out faith because there are days when hope needs a break, when it's been stretched to its limits and about to crack. That's where faith steps in. You don't know how, but you just keep saying to yourself and believing that something's going to open up for me. I just have to keep going.
We all have things that come against us in life. People that aren't fair, a sickness that won't seem to go away, or a setback in our finances. Sometimes it was no fault of our own. We were born into difficulties, parents that weren't around, depression and addictions that keep getting passed down. We wonder, why am I having this opposition? Why was I raised in an unhealthy childhood? Why did this company let me go after all these years? It's because there's something in you that the enemy's trying to stop.
There's another person on the inside of you that you have to tap into in order to get through one of the darkest, toughest, roughest moments of your life. But ultimately, everything happens for a reason, and you have to understand you've been dealt this. You've been dealt this adversity, this opposition, and this challenge because somebody in the world needs to see you get through it so it can serve as a blessing to someone else. And so as I stand right here before you and I tell you I'm grateful and I'm thankful, I'm grateful and I'm thankful. I have friends out there that poured into me. And so every day of my life, the way that I live my life is to give the people that invested in me and saw something in me when I couldn't see it in myself, a return on their investment. I feel it's my responsibility to add value to every person's life that come in contact with me in every environment that I go into.
not curse the only thing you have. Don't complain about the only thing you have, which is seed and soil, sunshine, rain, miracle, and season. But start changing and processing and evaluating things like recovering today, and this process of change will take off for you. You will not believe what can happen in such a short period. Next subject, personal development. Some of the things Mr. Shoaff taught me starting at age 25, some things came quickly, some things came easily. Setting goals, that was easy. We're going to talk about that later on. But this one I had to struggle with, personal development. It was hard for me to give up my old blame list. It was so comfortable blaming the government and blaming my negative relatives and the company policy, unions, wage scale, economy, interest rates, prices and circumstances and all that. That was difficult for me to give up. That was quite a transition for me to make, and blaming myself. But Mr. Shoaff started out with something very, very important. Let me give that to you. He said, it's not what happened that determines the major part of your future. It's not what happens. What happens, happens to us all. He said, the key is what you do about it. It's not what happens, it's what you do about it. And he said, if you will start that process of change, do something different the next 90 days than you did the last 90 days, like picking up the books to read. Do something different, like the new health discipline, relationship with your family, whatever it is, doesn't matter how small it is. If you'll start doing different things with the same circumstances, since we cannot change the circumstance, but we can change ourselves. We can change what we do. And then he gave me another secret to success when he said, what you have at the moment, Mr. Rohn, you've attracted by the person you've become. What you have at the moment, you've attracted by the person you've become. Few little simple principles here. Once you understand these, it starts to explain so much. Now, sometimes it's a little tough to take, blaming yourself instead of the marketplace, taking responsibility instead of putting it off on someone else. That transition sometimes is a challenging mission. And this one was a little tough for me. He said, Mr. Rohn, you've got pennies in your pocket, you've got nothing in the bank, the creditors are calling, you're behind on your promises. And he says, here's how that occurs. You've attracted, up until now, you've attracted the things to you because of the person you've become. Now I said, well, how can I change all that? He said, very simple. If you will change, everything will change for you. You don't have to change what's outside. All you've got to change is what's inside. To have more, you simply have to become more. And then he said, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Start working on yourself, making these personal changes. And he said, it'll all change for you. So let's talk a little bit about personal development. That extraordinary adventure I undertook starting at age 25. And I've never ceased that adventure. I'm still going for it. In the 90s, I want to get better and better. I want my craft to get better, my business operations to get better, the things I do to get better. Because once I picked up this simple formula, I'm telling you, it's easy to figure out where the problem is if you go to work on it. Now, let's talk about personal development. And in helping kids understand personal development, I always start with money. Now, money's not the only place to start. Money certainly isn't the only value, but we've all got to start somewhere. Money's something you can count, right? Kids are interested in money, okay? A lot of things are a little tougher to measure, but economics is pretty easy, right? Because you can count. Okay, somebody says, how are you doing? You say, I don't know. Let's count. Now, this is not the only count. I understand that. There's a lot of other things to count. But to see if there may be some errors in your judgment and lack of disciplines in your life, we might as well start with money, because it's so easy to count. So let's just start there and see whether or not maybe we have messed up. Okay. So here's how I explain it to kids. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. Key to understanding economics. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. Marketplace is also described as reality. Reality, the marketplace. Now, it takes time. It takes time to bring value to the marketplace, but we don't get paid for time. It's very important for kids to understand, as well as adults. We don't get paid for time. Mistakenly, the man says, well, I'm making about $20 for an hour. Not true. Not true. If that was true, you could just stay home, have them send your money. No, it's not true. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you put in the time. So we don't get paid for time, we get paid for value. Now, since that's true, here's one of the key questions of the afternoon. Is it possible to become twice as valuable and make twice as much money in the same time? Is it possible to become 3 times as valuable as you now are and make 3 times as much money in the same time? Is that possible? Of course. If you want to really emphasize something, that's a good phrase. Of course. Of course. Now, all you have to do to earn more money in the same time is simply become more valuable. America's unique. It's a ladder to climb. Starts down here, what? About $4 an hour? Big argument last year in Congress about the starting place. Should be 5, should be 5, should be 5. Well, no, it doesn't need to be 5. Why not start with 4? It's a ladder. Right. This is not a bed. This is a ladder. It's a ladder to climb. Starts at $4. Now somebody said, well, should be 5, should be 5. Well, maybe. If you're going to stay at the bottom for the rest of your life, it probably should be 5. But that's kind of a pitiful way to live. Start and not grow. Start and not change. Start and not become more valuable. Hey, the whole scenario of life is to start, number 1, and what? Become more valuable, number 2. So America's a ladder to climb. Starts at $4 an hour, and the more valuable you become, you just keep moving up the ladder. Top income last year, what? 52 million? Guy that runs Disney. Would a company pay somebody for 1 year's work $52 million? And the answer is, of course. This is one of those of course places. Of course. If you help a company make $1 billion, would they pay you $52 million? The answer is, of course. It's chicken feed. I mean, it's not much money. Now, why that much money? Because he has become so valuable. Now, why would we pay somebody only $4 an hour? They're not very valuable to the marketplace. Now, we got to make that distinction, to the marketplace. Might be a valuable brother, a valuable member of the community, valuable member of the church, valuable member in the sight of God, to the human family, of course, those kind of values. But to the marketplace, which is called what? Reality. Reality is, if you're not very valuable, you don't get much money. Those are called the fact. I mean, that's how that is. Well, then how do you get more money? Simple answer. Somebody says, well, I'll go on strike for more. Well, here's a major problem with that. Here's a major problem with that. You can't get rich by demand.
See, once and for all, it's really interesting. Once and for all, you could find out what you're capable of. Once and for all, you could find out if you're capable of becoming this man or woman you always dreamed about. Once and for all, you could do this here. I hope right now you're kind of getting those feelings I described the other night, those butterflies, that hope, that fear, like, can I do it? Like that football Friday night feeling before a game, that anticipation. See, what you should feel right now is alive. I hope what WFG makes you feel is alive. See, because life's not worth living without some anticipation, the looking forward to the future, wondering whether you could do it. If WFG gives us anything in our lives, it's not only just hope, it's not only just opportunity, but it's anticipation of what the future could look like, or what our lives could look like, where our families could be someday. And we got some decisions to make this hour, and I want them to help you, help me make them. If you could ever go through this life without ever knowing what you were capable of, if you could walk through this time on earth, never going to the places you're supposed to go, never becoming the person you're supposed to be, never helping the people you were supposed to help, never taking your children around the world and seeing the places you're supposed to see. If you could never go through life without wondering and knowing that, you're in the right place with us. We are the greatest business opportunity in the world today. Amen? Is that right? See, in your life, you're going to get what you tolerate. Stop tolerating for these people who have believed in you all your life, an inferior life for you. Stop allowing God to bless you and give you all this giftedness and opportunity and settle and tolerate less. For those babies that are sitting here with you, your children and grandchildren, stop being willing to tolerate less for them. Don't tolerate it anymore. Yeah, you got to give it your best, but it starts making a decision that this is over. I don't tolerate this life anymore. Pretty good's not good enough for my family. Pretty good's not good enough for my grandmother. Pretty good's not good enough for my grandpa, my parents, my future children. Pretty good ain't going to get it done for this family. Now I hope you hear them whispering to you, he's right. You can do this. You're great. You're special. You were born for a reason. I hope you can feel that. Life's going to give you ultimately what you'll fight for.
I'm supposed to talk, and I want to reiterate, though, I'm just a motivational speaker. That's what I am. You know, Bishop has inspired me, and it's really helped me understand my walk. You know, I'm nothing no more than you. You know, my job has been exceptional, though. I've been very blessed in that I've lived a life. God has enabled me to pursue my passion and tied it to my gift. I'm gifted at comedy, and I've been able to pursue it. So I wake up every day, and for a living, I play music and tell jokes. How big of a blessing is that? But you know, people, they look at that, but see, you lose sight of the fact that I'm 54, though. And you don't know the fact that I've been doing this 27 years in order to get to the point where I can wake up and play music and tell jokes for a living. It's like my guest, Tim Gannon, who explained the fact that he wanted to play poker polo. He didn't buy a pony till he was 40. He saw the first race at 16, the first match at 16. He didn't get that till he was 40. But so people look at him as the owner of the Outback Steakhouse and they go, wow, but they have no idea the journey and the stress. And what I want to talk to you about is stress. What stress is, what it really is. How it's necessary if you're planning on getting to where you're trying to go to. See, stress is God's way of training you. It's preparation. But what most people do is, see, once you get stressed, you don't want that no more. So now you give up. You through. I'm stressed, so I don't want it. Nobody likes stress. You know, I work with a trainer. I have to work out. You know, 54, I'm supposed to, really, I ain't nothing fly, nothing like that. Really, I am, but, you know, I'm not, you know, you've been to your reunion. And you didn't know who was talking to you because you was going, whoa. And then you go look in the mirror and go, okay, I need to check myself. Do I look that bad? Because some people just let themselves go. But you got to, in order to develop and to change and to grow, stress is necessary. So you got to be willing to go get it every day. There's a story my father told me all the time. Now, I've heard it several different ways, but I'm just telling you the way my daddy gave it to me. He said, son, he said, every morning on the plains of the eastern Serengeti Desert, there arises a gazelle that realizes that he must run faster than the fastest lion, or he will be eaten and he will die that day. On that same desert arises in the morning a lion that realizes that he must run faster than the fastest gazelle, or he will starve and he will die that day. He says, son, the moral of the story is, no matter who you is, when you wake up in the morning, you needs to be running. No matter, and he said, no matter who you is. This proper grammar is who you are, but my daddy didn't do that, and I was comfortable with it. And so what he taught me was a work ethic of how to work. In order to get to where you want to go, you got to put yourself under some stress, though. See, stress is necessary. God is a trainer. This is what I done learned about it. And all I can tell you is, you know, how I got to be who I am. That's all I can share with you. I got no other stories for you. He got me to this point because from so far from what I done gathered in the process I'm in, he wants me to share my story with those that's still trying to get there. And at 40, you can still buy the pony.
I was saying, drink, Rock, drink. Drink, Rock. Gotta go and get him some more if he'd asked me to. Then pretty soon the phone rang. It was the general manager. And I answered the phone. I said, hello? He said, young boy, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, would you call one of the other DJs in? I said, yes, sir. I said to myself, he must think I'm crazy. I called my mom and my girlfriend, Cassandra, said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn up the radio. I'm about to come on the air. I waited for about 20 minutes, and I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, young boy, you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and segue the records, but don't say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't wait to get old Rock out of the way. I put on a fast record. I said, look out, this is me, LB Triple P. Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single, love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. I was hungry. Get old man a round of applause. I was hungry. I was hungry. You gotta be hungry. Shake someone's hand on your right and left all around you and say, you gotta be hungry. You gotta be hungry. To get those dreams out of your head and step into your greatness, you got to be hungry. To get those ideas, that talent, that gift out of your system, you got to be hungry. To get up off the canvas of life and understand what Willie Jolly meant, that a setback is a setup for a comeback. You got to be hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. How many of you got value out of what you've heard thus far? Raise your hands, please. Very good. I'd like to leave this with you. I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what you want to do. Here's what I know about you. You have greatness within you. Here's what I know about you. I can help you to live full and to die empty. I can show you what I've learned. If anybody told me that I would be doing what I'm doing now, I leave here today, I go to New Orleans and speak there, then I'll be flown to Barcelona. If anybody told me, given my circumstances, born in an abandoned building on a poor section of Miami, Florida, called Liberty City, both my birth parents stood up and said, hello,
hello, son, I would not know either one. Being labeled educable mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, fail again when I was in the 8th grade, no college training. Anybody told me the principles that I would teach you, that they would have the impact that it has had on my life. This Les Brown that you see, I did not know he existed. And I tell you that you have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. Come into the room with me, and I guarantee you your life will never be the same again. I like to leave this with you. I don't know what your goals are. Mine is to find a cure to autism. Mine is to find a cure to breast cancer and to prostate cancer. Mine is to work with our youth and to reduce the recidivism rate in our prisons and help young people learn how to become an asset to our society rather than a liability. Mine is to train speakers to become great communicators, to speak from their heart, not their heads, and teach them how to impact and create a new conversation so people can see the possibilities of life and overcome the possibility blindness that held me hostage for 14 years. I don't know what your goals are, but here's what I know about you, and I don't know you. You've got greatness within you. And I like to leave this with you, something my mother used to love to hear me say. Leslie, yes ma'am, mama. Say that thing for me, boy, that makes me feel good. I dedicate this to you, to the greatness in you, and to the dream that you showed up on the planet to produce. And it's simply this. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish, or gulch, sickness or pain or body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it. God bless you. God bless your dream. God bless peak potentials.
I'm nothing no more than you. You know, my job has been exceptional, though. I've been very blessed in that I've lived a life. God has enabled me to pursue my passion and tied it to my gift. I'm gifted at comedy, and I've been able to pursue it. So I wake up every day, and for a living, I play music and tell jokes. How big of a blessing is that? But you know, people, they look at that, but see, you lose sight of the fact that I'm 54 though. And you don't know the fact that I've been doing this 27 years in order to get to the point where I can wake up and play music and tell jokes for a living. It's like my guest Tim Gannon, who explained the fact that he wanted to play polo. He didn't buy a pony till he was 40. He saw the first race at 16. The first match at 16. He didn't get that till he was 40. But so people look at him as the owner of the Outback Steakhouse and they go, wow, but they have no idea the journey and the stress. And what I want to talk to you about is stress. What stress is, what it really is. How it's necessary if you planning on getting to where you're trying to go to. See, stress is God's way of training you. It's preparation. But what most people do is, see, once you get stressed, you don't want that no more. So now you give up, you through. I'm stressed, so yeah, I don't want, nobody likes stress. You know, I work with a trainer. I have to work out. You know, 54, I'm supposed to, really, I ain't nothing fly, nothing like that. Really, I am, but, you know, I'm not, you know, you've been to your reunion. And you didn't know who was talking to you because you was going, whoa. And then you gonna look in the mirror and go, okay, I need to check myself. Do I look that bad? Because some people just let themselves go. But you got to, in order to develop and to change and to grow, stress is necessary. So you got to be willing to go get it every day. There's a story my father told me all the time. Now, I've heard it several different ways, but I'm just telling you the way my daddy gave it to me. He said, son, he said, every morning on the plains of the eastern Serengeti Desert, there arises a gazelle that realizes that he must run faster than the fastest lion, or he will be eaten and he will die that day. On that same desert arises in the morning a lion that realizes that he must run faster than the fastest gazelle, or he will starve and he will die that day. He said, son, the moral of the story is, no matter who you is, when you wake up in the morning, you needs to be running.
Find a way to win in spite of the crazies that are out here. The old saying, well, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. You expose them to the right communication, information, and algorithms, and whatever else stuff out there that we're not even aware of. And not only would he drink, he'd jump in the water. This is a different space. You have to protect your mind. So, here it is. Stop knocking on an open door. You have the power. You, your voice, you, your experiences, you, your knowledge, you, the things that you have gone through. Some things happen to you and some things happen for you. You're a gold mine. Coming out of this place where we are will be millionaires, billionaires, and witnesses. And those of you that listen to me, you're going to be a millionaire or a billionaire, but you won't be a witness. You won't just be standing around saying, I wonder what happened.
In order to get to where you want to go, you got to put yourself under some stress, though. See, stress is necessary. God is a trainer. This is what I done learned about it. And all I can tell you is, you know, how I got to be who I am. That's all I can share with you. I got no other stories for you. He got me to this point because from so far from what I done gathered in the process I'm in, he wants me to share my story with those that's still trying to get there. And at 40, you can still buy the pony. And by age 50, you can still have 5 world championships. But you got to be willing to get under some stress. See, stress is necessary. It's like, I can't believe what Bishop was talking about because I had prepared this whole thing. And it's just amazing how he is, man. God be doing. See, that's what I've learned. God cold. He do. He tricky with it. He got moves you won't even. 3 of the things I was gonna talk about, he talked about. Now I got scared to talk. Cause you know, I mean, I'm up here, you know, following the greatest preacher of all time with similar subject matter, but I have a different take on it, cause I had a different walk. So you see, the part he was talking about, that seed. See, I'm a seed, I really am. But a seed has to be planted. A seed got to have dirt put on top of it. If you take a seed and throw it on the concrete and walk off, the sun just burn it up. But guess what? Logically, in my mind, it doesn't make sense that to grow something, you should dig a hole, put it down in there, and cover it with dirt. Logically, that don't make no sense to me. But oh, though. See, dirt is necessary for growth and development. Dirt builds character. Dirt gives you the push-through factor. Dirt makes you come with it when you don't feel like coming with it no more. And you get dirt in a lot of different ways. All of y'all that had dirt thrown on you. And dirt ain't always what you want. It's somebody talking about you down on your job. It's somebody accusing you of something that you didn't do. It's somebody telling you you ain't gonna make it. It's somebody sharing information about you that ain't true. Everybody get dirt put on. But see, when you're getting put under that stress, please know God is always working. Kirk Franklin's song, God is always working, so I smile. Because I know he back there. See, that dirt builds character in you. When they talking about you, it teaches you to withstand it. Then it gives you something to push through. So when you put the seed and you put the dirt on it, if you understand stress, stress really ain't just dirt. Stress, see, they don't call it dirt when they plant it. They call it soil. Because, see, soil has nutrients in it. What the nutrients, when people talking about you, dogging you, lying on you, backbiting, stealing from you, talking about you, they're actually putting nutrients in you. They're building character. You got character now. And now, the seed, if they put a camera under the ground, you'd have seen the seed sprout open and start coming through the dirt. Because the dirt is necessary so you can prove yourself. You know, if you don't really want to be, everything you see above ground that blossoms and plants and grows and that's beautiful, it was underground one time. All them potatoes, collard greens, they was underground one time. Them apple trees, they was underground one time. So they had to prove themselves. See, you want to be successful, well then you got to prove yourself. You got to push through the dirt. You got to come up through here. You got to come out. Then you sprout, and then Bishop say, then you become a tree. Next thing you know, you got fruit. So when you under stress, take the stress for what it is. Don't get fooled. Don't just think, I don't know, man, Lord must not mean for it to be. What you tripping for? What you talking about? How you think you're going to be a plant, a tree, a flower, a bush, and ain't no stress? How you going to get to be that without no dirt? Didn't they do Jesus? How you figure you're supposed to get up out of here? He was pretty perfect. We ain't even perfect. See, I expect dirt now. I expect people to talk about me. Matter of fact, I look forward to it now. Do your anything, because if I can weather what happened to me and my family earlier, you can bring whatever you got now. There's some more stuff going around now that's about to happen. Bring it. Because now I have developed a character that is stress.